My people, we are back. How is everyone doing today? Before we even get started with any of this, I need to know how your day is going today, right now, and then I will reply to you and tell you how my day is going. I hope everyone is liaxing their Lindenborg today. We are sipping on some grape Kool-Aid, and we're going to talk about Jaylen Brown today. We are ranking all 30 teams today on their likelihood of getting Jaylen Brown and more. Like, we're going to be like ranking on how likely they'll be trading for Jaylen Brown and also how much I want to see them on that team, like the fit and everything like that. So, and if you don't know what Yaxling your Lindenborg is, I don't know what it means either, okay? We're just going to move past that. So here are all the tiers as followed. Most likely and rumored. I would love this fit. Could work in theory, but unlikely. Not enough assets. Doesn't fit their timeline. Contenders who don't need them. And of course, I'm going to start off with the Boston Celtics because obviously he's not going to be on the Celtics if this is a trade video. Doesn't make any sense, right? To begin, we have the Atlanta Hawks. This is a team that I believe is rumored for Jaylen Brown, and I think it is one of the more likely fits as well because when you look at that roster, I mean, like, you have a lot of tradable guys that you could potentially trade for Jaylen Brown. They were rumored in the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. They have a lot of picks that they can give up, two of those being the Milwaukee Bucks picks that are very valuable pieces. But actually, now that they've drafted Kingston Flemings, it just feels like that team is going in a more young direction. So I moved it down to could work in theory but unlikely because it's like, what good does it actually do for the Atlanta Hawks to trade for Jaylen Brown? Because not only are you going to have to deplete your roster of the Onyeka Okongwus of the world, Dyson Daniels or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, one of those two people have to go. Jonathan Kuminga is likely gone. There's a lot of really fun young pieces, and I know a lot of people are hating on Dyson Daniels right now, but there's a lot of young fun pieces that is the foundation of Atlanta right now. And giving up all of that plus the picks that you have from Milwaukee, it just doesn't make the most sense to go out and get Jaylen Brown, in my opinion. It would be a lot of fun. He's in the thumbnail. Wazoo, makes a lot of sense. But I think it could work in theory. I think he would be the star guy. But it is, I think, unlikely. The Brooklyn Nets is the second team up today. How do I feel about the Brooklyn Nets? Because this is a team that could absolutely trade for they're known to try and get the big star guys. You're in New York. It makes way too much sense. What they could do, they could offer like Michael Porter Jr., Terrence Mann, and a bunch of draft picks for Jaylen Brown. And that could be in this new era of the lottery rules, it doesn't help you to be bad. You can be a mid-ass team and still get the number one pick. It's just basically all luck now. So it doesn't make any sense to be bad. So I'm putting the Brooklyn Nets in most likely, and actually I'm gonna put them in. And I would love this fit because I don't know how rumored they are, literally rumored. But I would love the fit because why not? This is a team that needs a star guy. You have Michael Porter Jr., you have Julius Randle, you're bringing in Mikael Brown. You need an alpha, and Michael Porter Jr. is not an alpha. Julius Randle, I'm from Minnesota. I could tell you right now, he's not an alpha. Mikael Brown, he might be, but he's not going to be it in his rookie season. So bring in Jaylen Brown, give up a couple of draft picks, give up Michael Porter Jr., I think that's great, and I think that would be a great fit in Boston too. When you have Michael Porter Jr. and Jason Tatum, that's not a huge downgrade. And if you're stockpiling draft capital on top of that, you could use that draft capital and maybe even go out and get your center. Now that's a big thing, and this is what we're going to see with a lot of these teams. The Boston Celtics are specifically looking for center help, so that's going to definitely play a role in today's video because I'm a realistic type of guy. I'm not going to talk about how he could go to the Warriors just because they have enough draft capital. That doesn't make any sense because they don't. The Boston Celtics don't want Jimmy Butler coming off an ACL tear. It doesn't make sense. But Michael Porter Jr. and multiple draft picks on top of that makes a lot more sense. The Charlotte Hornets make sense because they are rumored, so that's why you are going to the top. You are rumored, and it's kind of likely because they've stockpiled on some draft capital a little bit, and they have been in talks with Boston about trading for Jaylen Brown. That would look, I don't even know what that would look like. It would revolve around Naz Reid, unfortunately. Shout out Naz Reid. But it would revolve around Naz Reid. It's going to be maybe Royce O'Neal will be a part of it too, considering that trade just went down today. At the day that I'm recording this video, they traded for Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. There's some pieces in there that could be of benefit, like role players, right? Like role players that the Boston Celtics would really like 15 minutes a game. I think Royce O'Neal is a great fit for the Boston Celtics. He's a great three-point shooter, veteran presence, all of that. My buddy Bean, he is a Hornets fan, and he hates the idea of getting Jaylen Brown. But if you're going to trade away LaMelo Ball, I mean, if you find a way to get Jaylen Brown, objectively speaking, your team is better. Like, I really think, and I don't think he's going to make, like, all the younger guys better, which is kind of the reason why you might not want to trade for someone like Jaylen Brown. Because you have like a really like deep foundational young core that you don't really want messed up. So bringing in Jaylen Brown might hinder that, but objectively you do get it better. You are a better team with Jaylen Brown than you are LaMelo Ball. It's just fact. Chicago Bulls, that's good. That's just going to be like one of those, like, it doesn't fit their timeline. It's just, yeah, it doesn't fit their timeline. There's no reason for them to do that. They're not rumored. There's nothing going on with the Chicago Bulls. I guess we can kind of just move on from that because that doesn't make any sense. Cleveland Cavaliers. Now here's a team that has absolutely been rumored with the Boston Celtics because the Celtics have expressed interest in Evan Mobley. Now that's a really interesting piece because you can bring in Evan Mobley, you can bring in Dennis Schroeder, potentially even a pick for Jaylen Brown. Now you're kind of trading with, like, I don't want to say like a rival because I don't think they're not in the same division, but like you're trading with one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but like, if you can get Evan Mobley and maybe a pick out of it, that would be huge for trading Jaylen Brown, because you'll see, like, towards the end of this video that, like, Evan Mobley, when it comes to someone who's actually going to be traded for Jaylen Brown, like a one-for-one swap, Evan Mobley is going to be one of the best players, if we're talking about just one player, he's going to be at the top, or like one of the top spots on that list of like one of the best players that you could get for Jaylen Brown. So that's going to be going into the most likely and rumored category as well, because there has been expressed interest for him, so it makes a lot of sense for that type of trade to happen. I mean, now we can think of like Jaylen Brown on the Cavs. It's like you got Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Jared Allen, if you can keep him. Hell, if you can bring in LeBron on a vet minimum, which is extremely unlikely, run him at the power forward, like that's a crazy starting five right there. And you could have James Harden be a third option to like take a lot of pressure off of him, just have him be a facilitator and score when he's open. That is the role that James Harden needs to play moving forward in his career. So if he has like Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell, they're being the 1 and 2 option, it would just be so perfect for him and his like late stages of his career. Next up on the list is the Dallas Mavericks. You could really put him in a couple different categories here. You could put him in the not enough assets category or the doesn't fit the timeline. I'm just going to put him in the doesn't fit the timeline because it doesn't make sense for them to try to trade for Jaylen Brown because it doesn't fit their timeline with Cooper Flag. There's going to be other teams in here like the Lakers, for example. I'll put them in right now. I might as well, just because I'm trying to talk about what this tier would look like. The Los Angeles Lakers is the perfect team for the not enough assets because that's a team that would want to get him if it was possible, but they just don't have enough assets in order to retain Jaylen Brown unless you give up like Austin Reeves, which would be just a ridiculous swap. Now, I'm not talking realism here, but like, would that not be like a player that the Celtics would want to get in return for Jaylen Brown? Austin Reeves. They really want Austin Reeves to be a Laker, and clear as day, that's what it is. But I mean, like, if we're playing 2K, if I'm I'm the Lakers, I'm trading Austin Reeves for Jaylen Brown all day, like every day of the week. The Denver Nuggets, that's a team that has been rumored as well to trade for Jaylen Brown. I don't know how it would look like. Like, I almost want to put them into the not enough assets category, but they have also been rumored to get him. So I'm gonna put this into I would love this fit. It's been rumored that Nikola Jokic, I don't think is going to sign an extension, or he hasn't signed an extension, something like that. Just a little bit of rumblings with Nikola Jokic there as of the last like few days. So I could see them maybe like blowing up the roster and being like, okay, we need an alpha guy. We weren't able to retain Peyton Watson, or maybe they were able to retain Peyton Watson and he's a big piece of this trade. You do like Peyton Watson and like Jamal Murray, something like that. Whatever it looks like, I think they have good players to trade. It's just a matter of like, I don't know, they don't have any draft capital, nothing like that, to really entice this Boston Celtics team to give up Jaylen Brown to the Denver Nuggets. The Detroit Pistons, that's the next team up. This is a team that, this is an interesting one because of Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown's up for like a huge contract. So because he was all NBA 13 this season. But obviously we saw how he played in the playoffs. It's unlikely that they're just going to willy-nilly give him that deal, like $40-50 million deal. Also, Celtics are in the business of a big man. It makes sense for them to be interested in Jaylen Brown. I'm going to put this into... I would love this fit. I don't know how realistic this one. I'm actually gonna put this into could work in theory, but unlikely, because like it works in theory because Boston is looking for a center. But are you really gonna trade with the number 1 seed in your same conference this past season? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Just giving up your Finals MVP to the number 1 seed doesn't make a lot of sense in my eyes. But again, Jaylen Brown would be a huge piece that the Pistons would definitely be interested in. The Warriors is just it's just not, you just don't have enough assets. It's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna trade Jimmy Butler and 4 picks? Like, they're not gonna trade their entire future for Jaylen Brown. I just don't I don't think they're at that point anymore. If they were, they're probably gonna do it on draft night and trade Yaxel Lendeborg. It's not likely. I don't see it happening. I think they're just going to ride Curry into the sunset. Next up, we do have the Houston Rockets. This makes a lot more sense than I think most people realize, because if you're looking for a center, Alperen Sengun is your guy. He's coming off of an off year. He didn't really shoot great this season. So what that means is if you're buying low on the guy, you could probably get more assets on top of Alperen Sengun. Obviously, you would anyway because of the contract situation, but I'm just saying, like, buying low on a guy like Alperen Sengun can get you probably that Phoenix pick in 2027. It could get you like people like Reed Shepherd, for example, since you're buying low on Alperen Sengun. I would love this fit, especially with KD. It'd be just a great 1-2 punch with that star fit. Has it been rumored? I think it has, so I am going to put it in the most likely and rumored. I think that's just going to be one of the top teams that would genuinely be in the running for Jaylen Brown. I think they were more likely to get Jaylen Brown than either Brooklyn or Denver, so I think that makes sense to me. Indiana Pacers, that does not fit your timeline, just doesn't make any sense. You're going to be... you're a little bit younger. I mean, I guess, I don't know, because you are contenders, because you literally were just in the finals of Game 7. But I'm thinking about that roster, I'm like, who would you want to give up for Jaylen Brown? Like, it would have to be like Pascal Siakam. It would have to be probably Andrew Nembhard. Like, what would that look like? What would that trade look like? Because that would, I don't know how that would look. Because, like, are they even in the trade market for someone like a Jaylen Brown? Like, why would they be giving up on Pascal Siakam? That would make no sense. There's no ill will. It's not like he played awful this season. It was just kind of a down season. You went to the finals the year prior, so it's like you only really didn't do well this season because you didn't have Tyrese Halliburton. So I don't think they would be, I don't think it's realistic in the sense that they would actually go after and trade for him, but it would be a fun duo between Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Halliburton. I think Jaylen Brown would have his best scoring season yet, playing alongside Halliburton, his floor general skills. He would get open so much with him. That would make a lot of sense from a fit standpoint. I would love that fit, so I want to put it in that category, but I just don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's their timeline. I don't think they're in the market for him. So maybe I'll put him on, like, it could work in theory, but unlikely. Like, it could, but they're not going to trade for him. So that'll be the category. The Clippers. I really don't know how to feel about the Clippers right now, because it's like, are you going to trade Kawhi Leonard? Are you going to not trade Kawhi Leonard? Because he's been in rumors. He's been in talks. The Clippers have been in talks with making a trade with the Raptors and having him return there. So it's like, would you bring in Jaylen Brown and you trade like Darius Garland for him? Like, you don't have a center that Boston Celtics would be interested in, so that's not really what they're looking for. I just got a notification that the Mavericks have been discussing Kawhi Leonard trades. That I've done that one before, but that was when they had Anthony Davis. But I guess I don't know. I don't know how much sense that one makes either. But like the Clippers, I'm just gonna say like maybe not enough assets, because it's like, what do you have? What are you gonna trade for him? Like, I don't think Darius Garland is enough for Jaylen Brown. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And even if you pair him up with Kawhi Leonard somehow, like, that doesn't make any sense either, because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George didn't work. What makes you think Jaylen Brown and an older Kawhi Leonard is going to work? Grizzlies, that doesn't fit your timeline. The Miami Heat, would they be trying to go after Jaylen Brown? I don't think they have any assets left, so I'm going to put that into not enough assets. They just traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo. You traded all of your assets for him. You ain't got nothing left. So that don't really make much sense. So that's going to go into not enough assets. Milwaukee Bucks. You were just in trade talks with Jaylen Brown, so but that's when you had Giannis. So I don't even know where to put that. Like, not enough assets, and I guess not enough assets because you already traded that. You just traded that asset. The Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to put the Minnesota Timberwolves in. I would love this fit because I would love this fit. I'm going to do could work in theory, but unlikely, because here's the thing. A, the Celtics would be interested in Rudy Gobert. B, I guess they have slightly been rumored in those types of trades. That was more before they traded for LaMelo. But C, I wouldn't want them to trade Rudy Gobert for Jaylen Brown. Is that ridiculous? Because you're not only going to trade Rudy Gobert, but you're also going to be trading another, expensive piece, like maybe Io. Or you wouldn't trade Jaden McDaniels, but like Io, for example. So would you trade Rudy Gobert and Io DeSumo for Jaylen Brown? Probably not. I don't think I would do that. I would rather have my depth, my anchor down below with Rudy Gobert, a Swiss Army knife, 2-guard to back up Anthony Edwards, but I would do if I'm the Wolves, and maybe I can make a video about this later. I'm trading TSJ after you traded for LaMelo Ball, right? You got LaMelo, you don't have a power forward. Maybe you're going to put Jaden McDaniels there, but he's more of a 3 in my opinion. So I would trade TSJ. I would trade Terrence Shannon Jr. I would trade the guy that you just traded for in Josh Green for the contract for PJ Washington. That would be the perfect fit for Minnesota. Don't go ahead and go star shopping again. You got the star. Fill out the roster around him. New Orleans Pelicans have been rumored. I'm not really sure what assets you would give up for Jaylen Brown. They're not going to want a boatload of picks and no good players. That wouldn't make any sense. They probably would not be interested in Zion Williamson. So I'm going to go not enough assets, even though it has been rumored. Knicks, you are contenders. Obviously, you just won the finals. The Thunder, you're contenders. You don't need him. We can just move on from those two teams. The Magic, I would say, could work in theory, but obviously unlikely. It would just be a lot of fun having him and Paolo Banchero. He could still be the alpha in Orlando, I think. I think it would be like you trade Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner. That would be the trade, which kind of makes sense. I mean, Suggs is your new Drew Holiday or Derek White. Franz, I guess, would technically be your new Jaylen Brown, even though that's obviously not making up for that. And then for Orlando, you have that alpha dog in Jaylen Brown and allowing Paolo Banchero to be a secondary scorer on that team and put a little bit less pressure on him. That would, I think, getting an alpha in Orlando would make a lot of sense. Philadelphia 76ers, it's they're not going to trade for Embiid. Maybe if Embiid wasn't as injury prone, that would make a little bit more sense. They're not going to want Paul George. I'm going to say not enough assets, even though they probably would be interested. But A, they don't have the assets, and B, you're in the same division. You guys are literal rivals. Doesn't make sense on any facet. The Phoenix Suns, I'm going to also say not enough assets as well. You just traded for Miles Bridges. What are you going to do? Jalen Green? No, that's not going to work if you're the Phoenix Suns. You just got to ride out Devin Booker and just see how it plays with that roster. You're not getting anyone big like that. You don't have the assets for it. Blazers, on the other hand, absolutely have the assets, absolutely have been rumored. That is one of the most realistic outcomes for Jaylen Brown. It would be Jeremy Grant. It would be Shaedon Sharpe or Toumani Camara. It would be Vit Krejci, and probably the 2 Milwaukee picks that they could use to trade for some other asset to fill out their roster and whatnot around Jason Tatum. Sacramento Kings, it just doesn't fit your timeline. Doesn't make any sense. The San Antonio Spurs, you are contenders. You don't really need him. The Toronto Raptors, they have actually been, again, like I was saying earlier, they've been in talks with the Clippers to get Kawhi Leonard, and it would be revolving around Brandon Ingram instead of RJ Barrett. Those are the talks that are happening, so if they're looking to get Kawhi Leonard, they're probably not in talks with Boston to get Jaylen Brown, so I think maybe in theory it could work, but it's just unlikely. It's just not going to happen. The Utah Jazz have actually been in those types of conversations as well. I don't know how much that makes sense for them to get him. I guess if you want to just be good right away, you do Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. That's the 2 that you would probably trade. But would that not hinder Ace Bailey? Would that not hinder Darren Peterson? That's where I'm going to be it just doesn't fit your timeline. Though you are rumored, you are probably likely, so you could be at that top of this tier list here. But I don't think it really makes sense at this point. They were rumored last year. That's before you had both Darren Peterson and Ace Bailey. Now you have a really cool like core here where Keontae George has improved this season. He had a breakout season. Walker Kessler, before he got injured, was having a breakout season as we spoke. It would make sense to trade Walker Kessler, I think. So it's not going to be in like the not enough assets category, because obviously you have plenty of assets to get him. And Danny Ainge, I believe he used to be the GM of the Celtics, so he probably would be interested in Jaylen Brown. I would probably say most likely and rumored, but I don't agree with them doing it, because like, what good does that do? That's almost like the Hornets up here, because like, why would you do that? I mean, yeah, you would get better, but like, what does that mean for Con Knipple? What does that mean for Brandon Miller? For the Jazz, what would that mean for Darren Peterson? What would that mean for Keontae and Ace Bailey? Like, that would hinder the development of those young stars. So actually, I'm going to bring the Hornets down. I'm going to bring the Hornets down to it doesn't fit their timeline, because it really doesn't. It doesn't make sense. And the Washington Wizards, yeah, that probably wouldn't fit their timeline either, even though they do have Anthony Davis and Trae Young. Or maybe you just don't have the assets. I mean, you do, but like, you don't have the contracts to do it. I don't think they'd be interested in Anthony Davis. The Celtics, I don't think they would be interested in Anthony Davis. So I'm going to put it in the not enough assets, because it's like not enough compelling assets for the Boston Celtics to be interested. Unless obviously you trade AJ DeBanza, which obviously you're not going to do that. So this is the list. Yeah, Cavs, Rockets, Trailblazers, I would believe, is the most realistic, followed by the Nets and the Nuggets. That would be really fun fits, in my opinion. And then Hawks, Pistons, Pacers, Timberwolves, Magic, Raptors would just be like good fits in theory, but like, I just don't think it happens. I don't think there's a lot of merit behind any of those teams, and unless something comes up. Like, I could easily see the Hawks kind of like move up into the I could probably move the Hawks up to the I would love this fit, because it's like they have been rumored, they have the assets, it would be a fun fit. It's not as unlikely as like the Pacers, so maybe they do move up. So I think that's how I'm going to do it. And if you made it this far in the video, let me know down below a hot take that you have for this offseason. If I do get enough comments, I will be making an episode for your hot takes. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.